Good evening, race fans. And apparently it's good evening, Jack James fans, seeing as they're already on YouTube and chatting to us in the YouTube chat. We are BSTV and we are at the wonderful, very tight and twisty Okayama International Circuit. It's the short version. It kind of looks like a baby lion on its back. I don't know. This is season 11. That's right, 11 seasons. Been going for a few years now. Rounds 17 and 18. I'm Pete Bingham, also known as Princess Pete, but for reasons that probably most of the viewers don't realise. And I'm joined tonight again by Russell Wirith in Cowell. How are you doing?
I'm alright. Hello, everyone. Hello, Pete.
Awesome stuff. Okayama Short, Russ. This is it's a knacker of a track, actually, isn't it? There's no peace and quiet here.
No, I don't think there will be tonight either. Going off everyone's practice times with a second that's it's not even it's within a second that everyone's in.
Yeah,
so it's all on tonight.
What's that? A 56-second lap.
Yeah.
So we've got two races tonight, obviously. A 20-minute race followed by a 40-minute race with a pit stop. So that's 6,000 laps tonight, is it?
Something like that. I think the sprint race will go dead quick for the drivers, but that feature race, it'll seem like it's been going on for an hour and they'll still be halfway through.
So we've got quite a few in tonight. This is obviously a popular one. 17 gladiators behind the wheel. As you noted before we went live, Cap is the fastest of everybody at the moment in that Spec 6 car. Spec 6 orange. Any insider knowledge as to why he's so quick round here?
He just does really well on short tracks.
Right.
There's not much to think about, let's be honest. I'll leave that to you, Pete, and you want to think about that one. But
Yeah.
any brain dead racing, he's generally all right. I think the one thing he's got going for him is he brakes. He's under braking, he brakes late. I've never known anyone like it. If he's behind you and you're about to brake, you need to leave room because he's coming through. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. He's not going to take too many prisoners, is he? He's just been pipped by 500. No, he hasn't. He's just taken it back again. I was going to say by Sam Blees, but he's just had that back. So this is going to go on for a little while, folks. About another 9 minutes of these two trading places, I would think. Spencer McCarthy's in on the act now in second. Gary Craig is pulled it into provisional fourth. Stephen Walker, not yet managed to break the stranglehold of other people off the top spot, but we've seen him do this before, and he's a bit of a tactician as well, isn't he? He's a bit of a full package. I suppose we better show this guy, seeing as his entire fan club is on the chat. This is Jack James. Had a bit of mixed fortune last week, didn't he, Russ?
Yeah, I think he got unfortunate. He was really good in race 1.
Yeah.
And race 2 just didn't produce
he absolutely smashed the snot out of his car and took 3 others with him just so that he could claim that he had. Do you want to take us through the standings? I know that you've worked on the sheet in order to make it all shiny and accurate.
Yeah, so we've got the drop score rounds as well. So we'll go from the drop score rounds now that we're past the halfway point. So in first place, we've got Sam Blees with 962 points. Stephen Walker in second with 954 points. Gary Craig in third with 795 points. Matt Elmore in fourth with 714 points. Spencer McCarthy in fifth with 705 points. Simon Trendle in sixth, I forgot where I was then, with 677 points. I'm going to do this, it's going to make it easier. In 7th, we've got Jamie Wilson with 644 points. In 8th, we've got Carl Hardy, 575 points. 9th is Tony Walker with 472 points. 10th is Chris Needham with 449 points. 11th is JB Dejoux with 446 points. In 12th, we've got Roger Morton with 424 points. In 13th is David Ayres with 408 points. In 14th, we've got Matt Flannery with 386 points. 15th, we've got Carly Haddington with 370 points. In 16th is Jamie Jeffrey with 369 points. In 17th is Scott Malcolm with 334 points. 18th is Andrew Little with 305. 19th, Michael Seal with 239. Arnaud Chenanier with 225. Jason Morris with 117. And everyone's favourite in chat, Jack James with 144 points.
Yeah, he's the strongest one of the field at the minute. He's propping the whole lot up. I think his pit crew are going to need to have done a few practice stops after he annihilated his car last week. At the minute, Spencer McCarthy on provisional pole. The first one to dip into the 55s, 55.982. That's pretty rapid, actually. That's going to be a struggle for people to beat, I think. I don't suppose you've got the practice times up, have you?
I have. Well, put it this way: the difference between now and then is Matt Elmore's gone a tenth quicker. Spencer's gone 3 tenths quicker. Sam Blease has gone nearly 4 tenths quicker, and he's also just done a 55. He's actually just gone first, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, yeah.
Which is rapid. Michael Seal has gone a tenth slower. Stephen Walker's gone 2 tenths quicker. Carl Hardy's gone a tenth quicker.
Yeah, so they're all stepped up then, yeah. Driver of the meeting, which is the most coveted award because that's me and Russ that are voting for it. Tony Walker is your man of the moment. Stephen Walker is his brother, or also known as Wook. So if you hear Russ talking about Wookie or Wook or Lucky Wookie Walker, this is the boy. He's in second. Simon Trendle, who's not with us at the moment, he's been in the session and he's left it. He might have got annoyed with the Honda. He's gone less fonder of the Honda. He's in third. Roger Morton in fourth and Gary Craig in fifth. That's the top 5. And then a whole bunch of drivers share 1 point. Michael Seal, Jamie Jeffrey, Sam Blease, Jamie Wilson, Carl Hardy, Chris Needham, Cap, which is also Matt Elmore, just in case you get confused on that one. And Kylie Haddington, who you'll see is actually Jason, but he likes spinning around, so we call him Kylie. Good evening to Alan Toon on the chat. Good to see you watching. Hopefully you'll get back behind the wheel of that MX-5 at some time very soon. And Liam O'Sullivan says Jack needs to just get good.
He's getting there. This track's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? I mean, we're all about the racing around here, but as I said earlier, a second between cars 1 through 16 or 15, I think it is.
Yeah.
Is a bit ridiculous.
Especially
considering how many laps they're going to end up doing in this first race. I presume they'll be doing 21, maybe 22 laps.
I would
think
the
times.
So. Yeah. So this is a lap. You're in second gear going around the first turn. Do you know what the first turn's called?
I have no idea what any of the turns are called.
It's called first corner. Then you go around this long right-hander, and then you end up in Piper, and then down this little back straight here, which is only a tiny back straight. They've hardly got time to blink. This is Redmond, which is quite a tight second gear in most cars, first gear in this one. Round Hobbs, and then you got Mike Knight corner, which I always thought was to do with Knight Rider, but apparently it's not. Pit lane entry's on the right there, and pit lane entry's a bit of a bitch around here. And then do you know what this corner's called?
The last turn?
Very good, last corner. Oh yeah. Welcome to Japanese tracks. This used to be like glass. This track, as did most of the Japanese tracks, because the tarmac over there is less grippy. But in recent years on iRacing, they've like sorted that out a little bit and made it a less like ice racing and more like iRacing. So yeah, it's everybody knows this track because you rookie at it constantly before you actually like improve your iRating and stuff. Liam Sullivan's already sandbagging for Jack Jones, saying he's only done 5 laps of practice. I think that's just a poor excuse for us. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that is a poor excuse. I mean, you can't expect to be up the top if you're only doing 5 laps, can you?
Exactly.
Or you can ask for a fixed setup, but that won't make any difference.
Yeah, it's like when people say, I've only had 2 hours of revision before an exam. Do you know what I mean? You had all that time you were drunk and smoking and stuff. You could have easily done something about revision. But anyway, We've got the two geodesic boys on the top of here. I'm just going to go through the team stand-ins. Geodesic Racing being the standout team at the moment. They are ahead by about 140 points over Spectre 6, which is Stephen Lucky Wookie Walker's team there. Anything you see in bright yellow, that eye bleeding yellow, you look away and it's still there. Who designed that?
Who do you think?
You.
Yes.
Again,
just to make it so you could see it from anywhere.
Yeah. Stands out. Just to remind everybody, if you see a yellow banner in the windscreens of the car, that means that they are a previous champion of this series. If you see, as Stephen's teammate Tony and also his brother shows a blue one, it means that they have not won the championship yet. In third place in the teams is Team Chimera, which is the ones that look like Murray Mints in green and yellow. Green and white, I don't know what I'm talking about. BSTV Esports is the fourth placed team. I can't show you those because neither of them are on track at the moment, which is JB and Gary Craig. And then Safeguard by result is in fifth, and none of which are on track, which is Carl Hardy. Who's the other Safeguard driver? Is it Roger? It is, it's Roger.
Yes, Roger. Yeah.
Right, we're just ticking over now, and that is the end of that. Can you extend grid in for me?
Grid set 2, yeah?
Yeah, exclamation mark, grid set 2.
Yep.
Alright, so your pole man for this evening is Sam Blease for Geodesic Racing, and his teammate is next to him on the grid, which is Spencer McCarthy. Matt Elmore, or Cap, goes off third for Spectre 6 Orange. Lucky Wookie Walker goes off fourth for Spectre 6. Carl Hardy off fifth for Safeguard by result, with Gary Craig, my usual teammate, in sixth for BSTV Esport. Tony Walker off seventh for Spectre 6. Michael Seal off eighth for Spyro by result, or Spiro by result. I'm not sure where I'm going with that one.
Yeah, good luck.
I say it different every single time. Chris Needham off 9th for RWC Racing Red. Jamie Wilson off 10th for Team Chimera. Jack James off 11th for Spiro by result. Jason Haddington, or Kylie Haddington, off 12th for RWC Racing Blue, is it? I can't remember. Yeah, Blue. Roger Morton off 13th for Safeguard by result. BSTV Esports is represented by JB Dejoux in 14th. In the blue Audi, the only one in the Audi, brave boy. 15th will be Andrew Littler for Result Clothing. 16th will be David Ayres for Result Clothing iRacing team. And Simon Trendle, we are not expecting to take the grid and race. So, I clicked the wrong button, could you tell? Right then, let's get everything set up, ready for racing. We will be seeing lights very shortly, I expect.
And you just got the flashy call.
Oh, will you all behave? So for those
everyone's
watching,
sat there flashing.
No, you're all banned. Pete doesn't like flashing because it's intimidating and it's effectively on-track bullying, in my opinion. So they all need to stop it.
Have you got a soundbite up your ass, Dave?
I did just hear some of the in sim chat, and it was like, what am I hearing? Right, lights are coming on. They'll be on your screen. We'll wait for 5 of them. When they go out, we will be racing. Already looks like their wheels are spinning because they're on the clutch. Yeah. Let's go to a better camera angle and watch what happens at first turn. JB Dejoux disappeared and then reappeared.
He got really tight in turn 1.
They did. Gary and Carl Hardy, often together at the start of races, duking it out. That looks like Jack James.
Oh, someone's gone off.
Ooh, where?
Has someone gone off, or is it
no, it's a glitch.
One of the trucks?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It might be one of the trucks. I just saw the side of a car.
Yeah, Jack James up a position. There's a few people up. Sam Blease has swapped positions with his own teammate at the very front.
Oh, good.
Everybody's round.
Someone is pitting.
Oh, someone is pitting. That looks like Michael Seal. A bit out of nowhere, to be fair. Is he out in quali fuel? We don't know yet. We'll find out later. We'll have to watch the rest of this first. Good eyes though, Russ. Nice one.
And I expected him, if he had gone in with qualifying fuel, you'd have thought he'd have stuck it out. So maybe he thinks he's got some sort of damage because he did. I think he hit the back end of Gary.
Ah, right, okay.
And JB's car looks a little bit broken at the front there as well.
It does. That's why I was focused on him. I thought he'd got into a bit of
There was an apology.
front left. Was there?
There was an
right,
apology
okay.
in the game. Yeah, I think Kylie and JB had a bit of a collision.
No,
The back end of that car looks broken as well.
it does, yeah, and we're about to find out how easy / difficult it is to overtake at Okayama Short because Lucky Wookie Walker has got himself, Spencer breaking the toe on his own teammate. That's just not cricket.
Around here, regardless of the toe, it is very hard to overtake.
Ah, right, okay.
So I was obviously speaking to the team before I came in here, and I think Matt was sat behind Jamie Wilson throughout practice, couldn't get off him at all. So he's waiting for that person in front to make a slight mistake.
Okay.
Or break early and do a Matt Elmo and send it down the inside.
So there is a request which I'm gonna give. So this is a Jack James on board. This is from Max Patworth Racing. So you can all criticise him later. He's closing in on the back of Jamie Wilson in that Honda. Oh no, he's not, because Jamie's gone a bit wild. He's going to get a position here. So what do you put that down to, Russ?
Probably the tyres not warming up.
Ah, right.
Again,
okay.
you've got what have you got? You've got Gary and Jamie and JB should be all right.
Jack's got the same thing going on. Back end's waggling on some of these cars.
Yeah, when you said before that this track doesn't feel like ice, it still does to me.
Oh, right, okay.
Even after all this time. I think that's a user error rather than a track error.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like the track hasn't. It's not like the other tracks. You can literally do 3 laps and the cars are grippy as hell.
Yeah.
We've done 10 laps of the full track the other day and I still didn't have any grip.
Well, that's similar to doing just 2 laps of a normal sized track.
yeah, true. Tony went a bit wide.
He did. He's alright though, he's kept that together. There's quite a few pocketed battles. There's this one going on. A little bit further back we've got JB under pressure from Chris Needham. The front 4 are still reasonably together. They're only separated by a matter of half a second each. And Gary Craig it's 5 actually, because Gary Craig's on the group. I reckon that Veloster is going to do alright here. I know it's not got the grunt out of the corners that the Elantra has, because none of them do. Other than the Elantra, of course. Although he ploughed that corner there a little bit too much. And it's easily done on Hobbs as well, because you just go ploughing straight through it in any car.
Do you know what could have happened to Michael earlier?
Go on.
And I didn't think about it earlier on. So the last 2 corners, if you hit the curb at the wrong angle, you actually get it come up saying your wheel alignment's out of place.
Oh really?
Yeah, and
the curb is
obviously
that big?
Yes. Now in the race, as the guys confirmed earlier, and I remember from previous seasons, you can hit it and it'll say your wheels are out of alignment, but you can continue to race. And the cars tend to just get quicker anyway. But the more you hit it, the more you hear that sound of alignment going out of place, and your wheel can be out of alignment. Actually, your actual steering wheel will be out of alignment.
Right, okay.
So with a direct drive, I can imagine it'd be quite horrendous driving with a car that's got even a 5% issue.
Yeah, true. We've got the top 5 racing together. Then we've got a bit of a gap, and then Carl Hardy and Tony Walker are reasonably close. Then we've got this battle, which is really it's just Jamie and Roger catching Jack James. Then we've got 4 cars, all in a tight group now. JB, Chris Needham, David Ayres, and Jason Kiley Haddington bringing up the rear of that group. Reassuring for Andrew Littler is he's not that far off the back of the field. Michael Seal is much further back actually. He's still on lead lap. So he was only in for a very short time. It was a fast repair, and that's all. I think he managed to cancel everything else.
Evening, Dan Mould as well.
Oh, here we go. Nearly. Oh,
And
Dan
Liam,
Mould on.
it is reverse 8 as well, mate, for the second race.
Yeah, so at the moment, Jack James, up 3 positions from the start, holds reverse pole position. And Roger Morton's closing on him quite rapidly now. And he's up 4 places, so there's quite a few movers and shakers in the field at the moment. Back at the front, as we were, really.
Jason's going for a bit of a move.
Jason, where are you?
He didn't make it.
Nah.
Dave managed to keep it in front. So do you know I said earlier how I've got it on most exciting?
Yeah.
iRacing doesn't know where to watch it switch between 3 different battles in about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I didn't know where to look because obviously that's a full lap in this track.
Yeah, that's why I'm controlling it through SDK. I'll keep an eye on the timing of the front guys. You can see it on the mini-map anyway. And you can see the gaps forming in the field slowly, but they are pocketed groups, this being the most intense of them. Roger Morton is slowly clawing away here at Jack James. His last lap was half a tenth, that's all faster. So he'll need to do more than that if he wants to make a difference. Jason Haddington getting a bit racy now again. Chris Needham also getting racy in the RWC cars.
We've got to give it to these guys. We're on lap 10 and I've not seen anyone do anything silly yet.
No, and like you were saying, the grip comes to the car, doesn't it, in this series?
Yeah. Someone's got to do something silly at some point, though, right?
Yeah. It wouldn't be normal if they didn't.
No, I mean, the one thing they'll be concentrating on is keeping the car all 4 tyres on the track / curbs. Because as soon as you go on the grass around here, you're in a wall.
Yeah, there's not a lot of runoff. It has to be said. And that black shaly stuff at first corner there is it's almost faster than the tarmac. So yeah, as Alan has pointed out on the chat, Jamie is definitely the bubble in the spirit level, and he's moving towards the group behind him as Sam Blease closes on his own teammate for the lead of the race. This is going to get tasty, because if these two fight like they did last time out, Stephen Walker's there ready to pounce.
Yep. We won't have Wobbly this time to shout down our ears.
This is true, yeah. He's now 41 years old, I think.
By the time this race finishes, he will be.
Evening to Ant Woodward. Thanks for coming and watching.
Evening, Ant.
This is getting intense, so a good time to join us. If you need a battery-powered bike, then please go to Wild Rides. That's Ant's business.
It was definitely a truck that I saw at the side of the road as well.
Oh, good.
I thought it was a car.
Yeah, I'm waiting for proper truck racing to come to iRacing. You know, the big things. We once did one of those races on R Factor at Croft. It's probably one of the funniest things I've ever done.
We did like the Ute trucks in America, the smaller ones.
Yeah.
We did something similar to that on Forza. But
Right.
we won't talk about that game because it's not a sim.
No, it's not a sim.
It could be any further away from one.
It defies all the laws of physics.
Me. We're racing.
Yeah.
That's who it is.
Gives it away. Right, so this 5 group here at the very, very front, all fighting for first place really, are starting to close up properly now. And then Chris Needham is with JB. Absolutely, JB might be suffering from that damage that Russ spotted from the very first lap. Yeah, that curb does kick him up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where they get the message of your wheels are out of alignment, mate.
Yeah, and JB just took a really bad line through last corner.
He's going to have the inside here, though. Chris is going to have to try and go for the undercut, yeah. But
No, he might do this, in 2 turns he's going to have a right-hander. He's done this, I reckon. There you go. Straight round the outside, really, of JB. Nice moves, guys, and very, very safe from both of them. We like that. But that does put them into the jaws of David Ayres now. That was on a really nice crafted overtake, that. I liked it.
Yeah, that was pretty well done. And it's good to see that Dave's finally uploaded his paint.
Yeah,
you can't blame me no more.
Yeah, strange things have happened. He was trying to blame me. At the front, we are as we were, but it is starting to concertina up. I think there's going to be some pressure getting thrown Spencer's way shortly. He's very good under pressure, though. Very rarely buckles. And, oh, JB. Oh, door banging. Rubbins racing and all that. I think David's going to get a good run here on an ailing JB Dejoux. He's going to have to stick around the outside, but that's... Oh, is he going to be able to carry that speed?
Yeah, he should be able to. He's just...
Bit of a nudge. Oh, and he's kind of helped him round there. And he's leaving it so that he can get the position, and then he'll get after him again. Very good sportsmanship from David Ayres.
And that's his car now with out of alignment.
Probably, yeah. These are the leaders again. Gary Craig may be getting dropped a bit by all these Elantras. Just a bit now. He's got 0.8 of a second in front of him, so he's still got toe. As David Ayres starts round 2 of Operation Dejoux.
Is it classed as toe around here, or is it like the tip of the toe? Well, even the nail.
Yeah, there's not much on it, is there? Really isn't.
No.
And right down the inside, late on the brakes from David Ayres. JB gives him plenty of room. Tries to repay the favour. David gives him loads of room, and then off down the road. Back at the pointy end, these two geodesic cars starting to pull away from Lucky Wookie Walker, but that was Sam getting that wrong.
Thought he was going to smack at the back of Spencer then.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, it wouldn't have been the first time.
No, there was one race at the beginning of the season or end of last season where Spencer said he had 12 0x. 12? Yeah, dear. That's called getting pushed round. That's lazy.
Yeah, that's not even driving, is it, at that point?
No.
Did he run out of fuel?
No.
I'm not saying that. Spencer, Spencer, he doesn't run out of fuel.
No.
He just does all the laps in the world and then goes, I've got no fuel left. Well, you've just done 1,000 laps, Spencer. What do you expect?
Solar-powered car?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, Angle. Let's look at the roof.
Right, Jason Haddington, next on the list to have a pop at JB. He's obviously got damage, hasn't he? There's no way that car is performing.
I think it is a mixture of... It's a mixture of both Audi things and that car looks heavily damaged.
It does, doesn't it? It looks like somebody's hit the top of it from the right and the bottom of it from the left.
It'd be good to watch it from the rear on the straight because I looked like he was trying to correct it then, as if he had the wheel issue.
Yeah, it looks a bit bonkers to be fair when you see it coming around the corners.
It's like aiming to go right, but he's having to ever so slightly keep it.
What's he doing with the wheel? Oh, I'm in the wrong car. Hang on. No, his wheel. Well, his wheel looks aligned. That's the curve you were on about, isn't it? The one that just passed.
Yeah. And this one does it as well, but not as much as that other one.
All right.
It's what it looks like going down here. Because to me, it looks like he's holding that in place.
Yeah.
Because it's got this very slight movement that you get from a human trying to keep a wheel straight.
Yeah, as Kylie has a real good look at ascend. I think we're going to start getting racy now. We've got 3 minutes to go. That's 62 laps left. Okayama short, you can do 1,000,000 laps around here in 3 minutes. Believe it or not, this is lap 18. What did you say they were going to do? 2021?
I reckon they were going to do 2021, yeah.
That may not come to much at the minute. I think Stephen Walker needs to get forward and put some pressure on these two. JB's sorted out his issues with Kylie for now.
And just to highlight as well for the Jack James fans in the crowd, he's currently going to be in pole for race 2.
So as long as he doesn't fling it at the scenery
Again.
I didn't want to say that, you know. It was a bit of an obvious one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yes, he is holding 8th place at the minute.
And I don't think there's got to worry around him unless he does something majorly bad around this last couple of corners.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a couple of laps to do that in. These three are getting very, very close and racy now. This is the battle for the 12th. Three different teams slugging it out here. We have Spiro by Result, BSTV Esports, and RWC Racing Blue.
Keeping an eye out now for our man himself with the white flag.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. Where are these two, or three, or four? They have dropped Gary now. Let's see if we can see anybody waving a flag on the start finish as we go through.
I don't know where he stands on this.
I think he stands on the right, up in that little gantry there. He's not waving anything.
I'm not seeing anything. So we are on for 22 laps then.
Yeah.
23 laps even. No, 22 laps.
22.
No, 23 laps it must be. We're on 21 laps now. So if he wasn't waving the white flag then.
Let's see. Should be just at the top of the screen in a minute. No, nobody waving. So we're going again after this one. Oh, we're getting close though at the very front, and we're getting close again with Jason Haddington and JB. This is closer. Sam's putting some real pressure on his teammate here. I'll have to look away then. So this is going to be the last lap, I expect. Yeah, they're going to get across with like 10 seconds to go. Yep, there he is. Barney's waving like mad. I'm going to have to go back to the other battle because he's trying to go around the outside. It's not going to work there at Hobbs. Now he's going to struggle. Oh, he got over that curb that you were telling me about. I think it knocked all his fillings out. He's got a good run on JB here, though. I'm going to have to move to the front battle in a second because that's heating up as well. Or it was.
Still a similar gap now.
Yeah, JB goes uber defensive. And again he goes defensive. This is a good closing battle. Where are these guys coming out of the last turn and they've stayed in the same positions?
Ah, it's all good. It's all good.
The only time it's acceptable to flash your
something
lights.
happen? Someone?
No, not yet anyway.
Okay.
These two are racing and we've just had Michael Seal and Andrew Littler going at it. This is Result Clothing and Spiro by Result. Bit of rough housing back here. And Andrew Little is keeping this one for now.
Well done, JB.
Is he going to keep it over
That
the
was
line?
fun.
Michael
That was.
Seale's going to have to go for the grass,
Yeah.
is he? Oh,
You
he is. He's
and
going to the
JB,
grass.
on that.
This is for the final position, and it's that hotly
Hold
contested, but Andrew Littler gets there in the end. Well
Racing
done,
you and
Andrew.
David, good fun.
Whew.
He was definitely keeping that,
Yeah,
wasn't
really,
He,
really.
he wasn't letting go. That's for sure.
Sorry if I
Right
kind of chopped your nose off back there, David, but you did give it back. I don't know who owned that, so thank you.
Right then, so round 17. Do you want to take us through the finishing order, Russ?
he? Yeah, sure. In
Awesome.
first place, we had Spencer McCarthy.
Well, Jim
Closely
said that I was
followed by
clear, and then
Sam
right when I
Blees in
turned is
second.
when we had our
In third, you
thing,
had Stephen
so I think it was
Walker.
Probably on,
In fourth
we're
was
gonna
Matt
blame Jim,
Elmore.
so.
In fifth, you had Gary Craig.
Yeah,
In
second.
sixth, you had Carl Hardy. In seventh, surprisingly as well, good effort by Tony Walker today. Eighth was Jack James. He'll be our pole driver for the feature race. Ninth was Roger Morton. 10th was Jamie Wilson. 11th was Chris Needham. 12th was David Ayres. 13th was JB Dejoux. 14th was Kylie Haddington, or Jason Haddington, should I say. 15th was Andrew Littler. 16th was Michael Seal.
Awesome, yeah. And Simon Trundle on your screens did not start. Thanks for that, Russ. Very professional. Right, let's go to a little discussion there. So, Liam O'Sullivan says he's told Jack to defend for his life in the next race. I won't tell you what happened in the V8s when somebody did exactly that and became a rolling roadblock. Actually, somebody did it in this, didn't they? Who was that?
Yep. Yeah, we had it in the first race where the Hondas took charge, I believe.
Yeah, and we had somebody who was very, very defensive. Was it Arnaud Chenonnier? He's not racing tonight, so hopefully he'll be back next week. Oh, people starting to practice their pit lane entries because it is a very challenging pit lane entry here. There's Gary Craig also doing the same thing. You can see before you get to the penultimate corner, you're already in pit road. You can get an easy violation by crossing any of those white lines on your pit lane entry. And then you go right round last corner before you get into the yellow cones. Sorry.
The one thing we need to watch out for here is Gary's entrance to the pit. He took a nice one in practice. He was practicing it as well.
Right,
and,
okay.
He touched the grass.
Oh, yeah, see, that's...
Imagine what happened at that moment.
Yeah, that's terminal. Doing something like that.
Whereas I saw JB practicing, he flew in it. I was like, JB, how the hell have you just done that? Because anyone else does that, they're in a wall. But he managed to get through there quite quickly and get into the pits all securely, whereas Gary, the lap before, was scraping a wall. And a tyre wall at that, which is more damaging to a car like this.
It very much is, yeah. So we'll see. See, Stephen took a very late entry into pit road. Where's Gary? Let's see what Gary's pit lane entry looks like. Yeah, again, same sort of line. Keep off the grass, Gary, whatever you do. I mean, you can absolutely nail it through here if you can manage to, because there's the yellow cones. That's where you need to be stopping and slowing down, rather, to the pit lane speed. So it's a challenging one, and you can save so much time or make up so much time on somebody else if you just absolutely nail that. So they're doing drive-throughs in order to get more practice around the lap. You'll be glad to know for the Jack James fan club that he's out on track. Hopefully he's going to practice one. A pit stop, that is. Because it's very much recommended. Starting in these cars is very difficult as well, isn't it, Russ? If you've not got a clutch tethered to a button.
Yeah, no comment. I did an official race. I think it was on, I don't know what day it was, but around Brands, me and Kat did an official. And I think I started 7th. I didn't start until 10th. Past me. So like three cars got past me because of no clutch.
Right.
I tried doing the old Audi trick, which was have it in basically neutral, rev it a little bit, slap it in first and go, and the car just went, no, I'm not going, mate. So I just basically went backwards. I managed to crawl it back to 7th, but Yeah, it's quite scary seeing all them cars crash behind you when you're sat still on the grid.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah,
Temperature is 39 degrees, track temperature, 29 degrees ambient. So it's quite a hot track surface in this practice session. And that session is going to come very abruptly to an end, so if you can get on the keys and extend gridding once it trips over, and I'll run everybody through the starting grid, which will have Jack James as your pole man. So round 18 of season 11, don't know what even that word was that I said, for BSTV TCR Challenge. Jack James is your pole man for Spiro by result. Tony Walker in second for Spec 6. Carl Hardy goes off third for Safeguard by result, with Gary Craig in fourth next to him for BSTV Esports. On row 3, Matt Elmore, Cap, will go off fifth for Spec 6 Orange. Sixth will be Stephen Lucky Wookie Walker, last season's champion for Spec 6. Row 4 will be Sam Blees going off 7th for Geodesic Racing with his own teammate and the winner of our first heat here, Spencer McCarthy in 8th. 9th will be Roger Morton for Safeguard by result. 10th will be Jamie Wilson for Team Chimera. 11th will be Chris Needham for RWC Racing Red. David Ayres will go off 12th for Result Clothing iRacing team. And I've just lost the button that I'm supposed to press. Where was I? David Ayres, Result Clothing. Yeah, JB Deshoe off 13th for BSTV Esports. Kylie goes off 14th for RWC Racing Blue. Andrew Littler after that. Serious fight to the finish in the previous heat. Will go off 15th for Result Clothing. And Michael Seal will go off 16th, and effectively last because Simon won't be gridding for Spiro by result. Okay, so let's get us a decent camera angle. Let's get everything on that we need to see. And we'll get rid of that. There we go. Let's get cameras on the starters. And that's the full grid in view. So, everybody on the grid, we should start seeing lights. And here they come. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. Look but don't stare, and they are gone. No, they're not.
Oh,
Jack James did not launch. Jack James did not launch. I blame Liam on the chat, his race engineer. And
Yeah,
they are 20 wide into first corner. Oh, wow.
Gary got a blinding start again. Tony seconded it, and then Stephen another decent start.
So do you think that Jack James start was lack of clutch?
Most likely.
Yeah.
I think the worst, well, the biggest loser out of that was Mr. McCarthy.
Really? Well, he's quite far back, isn't he? He's mired in the pack. He's in 9th. So he's not moved forward, he's moved backwards quite heavily. It's
He
all...
didn't see the lights.
Yeah, and the runaway winner of all of that so far is Gary Craig. He's away.
Which I presumed off his start, he has got that car, and the starts in that car are absolutely spot on in every race we've seen so far.
He's certainly got it down to a fine art. JB Deshoe, is he getting help around the corner? No, I don't think so. Maybe he did get a little nudge, but it was just a love tap. There was nothing in it really. Apparently Liam's blaming Jack, saying he claimed he didn't see the lights. I'm sure that Russ's laugh tells you everything you need to know about that statement. As Jack James gets a position back, Jamie Wilson, gets a position nearly. He's trying to get one over on Spencer here. Nope, Spencer's taking the outside line, and he's going to have the dominant line now. Yeah, round the penultimate corner there. Hobbs. No, it's not Hobbs at all, is it? That's the one before it.
I'm just thinking now, did Spencer get some sort of damage at the start?
The car doesn't look like it's affected by anything. It certainly doesn't show any damage. Jack James getting overhauled now by Michael Seal, who is absolutely propelled himself forward. Roger Morton going sideways through first corner. And he's still going through first corner. All a bit messy at the back as there's a multi-21 happened there by the look of where Tony Walker's car was. He's let his brother go.
That'll be Tony. Keep Sam there as long as you can.
Yeah.
While I catch up to Gary and drive away. But I think the lead that Gary's got now is it's a winning lead in this.
It's good. It's over a second, and that's exactly what you need in this car. David Ayres slugging it out back here with Andrew Littler, his own teammate.
It's just a kiss. It's fine.
Gary Craig with the fastest lap of the race so far.
Now what Gary will be doing here is
driving the nuts off it.
trying to maintain them tyres.
Very true, yeah. All a bit tasty here.
That's the one thing he's got over the guys behind now, is that he's got that lead.
Just to answer Ant Woodward there. Sorry, I've just seen his previous message. That's funny. So he says, is there a pit stop in this? Yes, there is. It'll be about halfway if any of the other races are to go by. As both Jamie and Michael Seal get very heavy over that dangerous curve that Russ was explaining about before. Michael Seal is just going to drag race his way past Jamie here. There's no contest. No contest. I wonder if Jamie's got damage. That looked a little too easy.
Really?
And Jack James is the car behind. Chris Needham.
Am I hearing? Oh, yeah, I was going to say. I heard a scrape of a wall somewhere.
Right, let's have a look and see what happened to Chris.
Is that me, Chris?
This is at first turn.
Didn't look like it. Say that again, Roger.
Ah, right. So JB kind of turned in where he should have done, and Chris kind of didn't. That was a very late turn.
With a slight net code as well.
Very possibly, given
Like
the
between
geographic situation.
We're then.
We both heard Stephen Walker there. That's funny. So Ant Woodward said to Liam in the chat, did you tell him to put it in gear? Oh dear. Classic. Oh, good evening to PVG on the chat, Pete Van Gool. Why are you not racing in this league? Does it not fit your calendar? If so, make it do so. David Ayres getting very racy with his sister teammate of Roger Morton there. JB just in front. Yeah, the non-Elantra cars are getting absolutely mullered here, Russ.
Yeah, I've just realised Sam's gotten past Tony, haven't he?
Yes. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, we're in replay.
Oh, we are in replay, yeah. I've never done that before, much. So here we go. Tony heavy and deep in a turn, first corner rather. And that was an easy one in the end for Sam Blees. Right, I'll definitely go back to live this time.
That was unfortunate for him then.
Yeah, just ploughed the first corner. I mean, it's so easily done. And now Spencer closing in on the back of Carl the Pie Man. Sponsored by Ginsters.
I should have done that on the side of his car, shouldn't I?
Well, we've had that before. Clyde used to put really funny paint schemes on some of our cars. I mean, I had Viagra, I had Durex, I had all sorts at one time.
No, but I painted their cars, so I had the opportunity to do that.
Oh, well, you missed a trick.
Yeah, I missed out a trick there, didn't I?
Trick. Jack James closing in on the back of what I can only consider is a damaged and ailing Jamie Wilson Honda. Unless this is why Simon just didn't want to race or couldn't race, because the Honda was just too weak at this track. But we shall see.
I reckon it is that, to be fair. I mean, Jamie isn't one to back out of a race. Neither is Simon, to be fair.
Yeah, no. True.
So I think the make or break moment for this track is if you're not doing times at the top end, they're probably like, well, Jamie sits out in the track anyway, but Simon's maybe thought, do you know what? I'll rather spend an hour practicing for next week or have a bit of a rest.
Just get your head out of it. If it's very frustrating, there's no fun racing when you kind of know you're going to get annihilated, which is why I don't race anymore.
We just witnessed then Matt Elmore getting onto the back of Tony through braking again.
Yeah, he is brilliant on the brakes.
Earlier.
Less than a second covers all 4 of these cars. That shows you what a second looks like. And Gary Craig's lead has been destroyed, is the best way to describe it. It was 1.3 seconds. It's now half a second.
Tony did the tick in the box, so he'll get a big brotherly hug later because now Sam is 1.4 seconds behind Stephen.
Somebody went super wide. I think it was Spencer. Fully on the grass. It was Spencer. No harm done. He's just lost a bit of ground, but he'll get that back in no time whatsoever. Stephen Walker using all the luck that Wookiees can find. A little bit of extra track there as well. Didn't slow him down any.
I heard him before rummaging for them pants. Them shorts.
Lucky pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's down to a third of a second now. That Veloster needs to get good at leaving corners quickly if he wants to maintain the lead, Gary Craig. As these 4 cars all pile through. You see the line that Spencer takes is a lot more wide and sweeping, but it's so much faster than the cars in front. He's just got that down to a T.
I mean, fair play to these boys. Tony's holding himself. I was about to jinx him then. I need to give him commentator's curse. He's holding himself quite well up there.
He is. He's not a rolling roadblock by any means, but he's placing his car just where it needs to be. On board with Spencer at the minute. I mean, everybody in front of him has got a toe apart from Tony. Tony's just out of Sam Blease's toe now. He just tips it in a little bit from a wider angle, comes out more shallow and on the gas a little bit earlier. It's fractions, but it all makes a difference. And he's crawling all over Carl Hardy again now, but there's nowhere to go, is there, like you were saying earlier?
Yeah, I think they are going to struggle to get past. I think for Spencer's view now, he's thinking, I'm not just get 1 car to go past, I've got 3.
Yeah,
If
definitely.
I'm making the move on one of them,
Yeah.
it's all or nothing, and this track doesn't bode well on someone that wants to overtake 4 cars at once. Because it is sure going to put him off track.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Again, he's just now sat waiting for a mistake or an opening to happen.
I wondered. Yeah, I thought he might. This is the earliest window I think you can go for. So let's see if he gets a decent pit stop here.
So this is Liam's masterclass in strategic masterclass, as you put it.
Yeah, I guess if this goes well, it's Liam's. And if it doesn't, then it's
engineer.
Jack's. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. If he doesn't work out for him, then it's Jack's fault. Just like the start.
Good into his pit box there, so that seems fine. Let's just see what's going on in the rest of the race. These 4 still thrashing out. They're not holding back either. You can tell by the behaviour of the car. Tony Walker doing a great job at the minute. Let's see where Jack's come out. He's come out in very clean air. Nothing in front of him at all. So he needs to head down and put some good laps in now.
And the more these 4 battle as well, the more we see of Michael Seal gaining on them.
Yes.
Because he's not slowed down either.
No, he's done some very rapid laps. He's certainly on the pace of the cars in front. 2 cars in the 58s, which is Stephen Walker and Sam Blease. Everybody else in the 56s. I'll put best lap up so you can see that, folks. There we go. And in theory, best lap will get better as the race goes on.
Yeah, you'll see everyone's fast laps towards the end of the actual race. or when fuel gets a little bit thinner on the ground.
Yeah. Cars
Which I
are a bit
presume-
lighter.
I don't know whether. I reckon Stephen will try and stay out as long as possible because he's technically currently saving a bit of fuel.
Yeah, he will be saving lots of fuel in theory. He's 0.4 of a second behind, which is optimal for saving fuel because you can just come off the gas early, roll into the corner a bit more, use a bit less brake without getting right stuffed up behind somebody's rear bumper and having to get on the brake heavily.
But Sam is closing that gap now.
Well, he's got. Oh yeah, he's really
Point
actually
five.
catching him. Yeah. This will be interesting. This will be interesting. See what the tactic is once he catches up. These four still going at it. I don't know whether Spencer's taking the same tactic. Sit at the back of the group. Fuel save into the corners. This is all getting a bit messy here behind JB now. But save into the corners and overtake everybody in the pits.
Well, we know that the three S's,
Yeah.
are all a masterclass of their own, especially when it comes to pitting. Stephen has his moments where his pit guys don't change tyres or they take a tyre off by mistake, which we've seen a few times in previous seasons. But this season, all three of them, I don't know whether they're sharing information or what, but
here
the
we
pitting
go.
seems spot on.
This is David Ayres again with JB. It's like the first heat all over again. JB taking none of it. But that is going to be a good line for David Ayres around the outside. And I think Chris
is put on the
Needham,
inside.
3 wide. Stuffs it in and does a great job.
And well played by JB because he could have easily gone across
That's
them.
not fair.
Yeah. So unfortunately, JB's just lost a couple of positions in 2 corners really. But I don't think he'll be too downhearted over that. It was his choice to take the Audi over the Elantra halfway through the season. Wonder how much he's enjoying that decision.
Knowing JB a lot.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
This is,
Stephen's trying to make sure that Gary knows he's there then.
He's closing quite rapidly now. I think he's got the hurry up from Sam Blease behind him. And this other group is still 4 fighting for 4th place. I just think that if we go on board with Spencer, we might hear a lift into the corners.
Oh, Stephen's right at the back of Gary now.
He is. Yeah, he's off the gas way early. And Stevens almost pushing Gary around these corners now.
These guys love this sort of racing. It stresses me out. When you're in the car and you're like, I've got this. Oh, Stephen went for the move.
And he's not going to do it, I don't think, because Gary's going to hold the inside line for Hobbs and keep it.
Oh, and then Sam's going to be there as well.
Yeah, will Gary peel off to the pits?
Push out though.
Didn't know whether he would. He's enjoying the racing, I think.
Yeah, he's just like, we're racing. Which I'm surprised I'm not heard him say yet.
He's going to get mugged.
See, it's not like he let Stephen go, but he had to slightly brake to allow Stephen through the corner without going wide, I think. And Sam's...
He might get a cutback here, but I don't think the Velocity's got the meat in it.
No. So now we've just got the race of what we saw last week, which is these two trying to battle it out and see who can finish the race. And it's all down to strategy now.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine Gary's going to lose 2.7 seconds. So he's either going to gain on these two for battling, or he's just going to sit cushy in that position until he pits and hopes for the best wherever he comes out, because now it's his time to save fuel.
Yeah, Liam on the chat says Jap's locking at the leader's pace. If the leaders were going 0.2 of a second slower or greater, then I agree with you, but they're not. Feel free to call me a knobhead anytime you like. Anyway.
No, it is true though. I mean, them laps they've done. I mean, what did Stevens just said? 56.2.
Yeah.
What's Jack coming out with now?
Jack's last lap was a 56.5.
Yeah, so he's quite a bit off. But this track, a small gap is a big gap.
It is, yeah. It magnifies it massively, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And exaggerates the lack of benefit.
I never thought I'd ever have to say that. A small gap is a big gap. That doesn't make any sense in my head. But I know it made sense with the timings.
Someone needs to get the smelling salts on Liam, because he's saying that Jack's been doing 56.3s. He's done a 56.3 as his fastest lap.
Yeah, his last.
Ooh.
Let's have a look.
Wilson of Jamie into the pits. So he's the second of the pitters.
Out of his last 3 laps, one of them's been in the 56.3s, then he's done 56.5 and a 56.4. So.
He might do all right by the end of the race, though.
I mean, he's come out ahead of Jamie, but I believe he was ahead of Jamie already.
Ant Woodward says, "I want a crew chief like you, Liam. Mine just keeps telling me the truth."
I mean, it could
Welcome
be worse.
to BSTV.
You could be running the crew chief when he swears at you around the corner.
Yeah. I just run the wobbly crew chief. That's demoralising enough. Pete, it's the pedal on the right. Pete, why are you going so slow? Pete, that car's so much faster than you. There's loads of battles and they're going on for ages. These two, I think, are in holding station now. This 4 are still doing their thing. Nobody's got their advantage on anybody, and Tony Walker's doing a great job.
I'm feeling Mr. Elmore's gone in passive mode.
Liam says, "I see there's an opening at Mercedes."
Don't take it. If it's
No way.
If you mean an F1, Liam, please don't take it.
Don't
We need a
touch
decent
that.
season. We need a decent season this season. Thanks. I'm wondering what Spencer's going to pull. If Spencer's going to pull something out of the bag here.
I think it's all going to get done in the pit stop for him. I think he's going to save loads of fuel, and then whip all 3 of these guys in front of him, and then try and set off after Gary after his pit stop, because he's so rapid. I think he could probably manage that. He's got a bit of a rolling roadblock in front of him, like you're saying. If he tries to overtake Carl Hardy, what's he then going to do? Because he's got Matt Elmore's car like right where he wants to be. So
Yeah,
safest option is probably hold station, do him in the pits.
And I honestly think Matt has gone in Spectre 6 safety mode.
Really? Right. Okay.
Yeah, he goes in passive mode. Now with me, he knows that he doesn't have to go in passive mode. It's each to our own. We always know we're like, even though we're teammates, we prefer a decent race. But when he's around, when he's doing things like this, he just goes in passive mode, and he even says it himself. He kicks himself sometimes. He's just like, I could have got past them in like turn 6.
Yeah.
In lap 2, but he continues to push. I'm not saying he's doing it on purpose, because Tony's done really well today and his lap times are actually showing that. But he does go in passive mode. He sees it as, I don't want to do anything wrong to the car in front. Then
Yeah.
I want that position, which is fair play considering the teammates. And I've just noticed as well, I'm slightly jealous of these guys for next week.
Which track is it?
Sebring.
Oh, that's Sebring.
And the newly decorated Sebring, as we found out.
It's had a remap, hasn't it?
It's not fully. It's mainly art, and they didn't do a rescan of the track.
They've
me,
just
Gary, were asking
enhanced
this question today.
graphics, right? Okay.
Yeah, they've gone through it with a fine tooth comb and updated some of the boards and that, according to the forums, anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's Byron.
Yeah, so just looking at the pit stops that have happened so far, we've got Jack James did a 40.6, but he was early in, so he's probably going to have filled up more than the rest. 39.27 by Jamie Wilson and JB 38.48. As total pit lane time.
Oh, and Spencer's in.
Spencer is in. That's a. It's not, well,
That's
is it
earlier.
a surprise? I don't think so. I think he's just got fed up of sitting behind. I think he'll still come out in front of those three.
It feels like a bit of a surprise for me, but this depends on how these three now react and whether we do get a reaction. I think we'll get a reaction out of Matt and maybe Carl, but they won't want to pit at the same time.
Tony Walker has a nice line through the sequence of turns there. A bit better than the two cars behind him on that lap. So, who are we watching out for here? Jack James heading down the start-finish straight. How far ahead is Spencer?
Is anyone going to go in? And Carl is your man.
Is he really?
Yep.
Yep. He's followed whatever Spencer did, so that'll be intriguing as to see what happens after that.
Well, Carl will stop for a quick pie,
Yeah.
and we'll see if Spencer comes out in front or behind. Oh, and Matt's gotten past Tony?
Yeah, when did that happen? Hang on.
Just now.
It's not even on my... Oh, it's just popped up on my event tracker. They were side by side for a little while after this.
I think it's turn 1, Tony went wide, possibly.
Yeah, I think he...
Oh, he's letting
letting
back.
go. That's an unusual tactic.
Again, these guys are always, Tony and Matt, racing with them as a team. It always works out. Like, they'll give each other room, and JB's being lapped.
Oh.
So I just heard Stephen saying cheers.
Right. Yeah, he must have got round faster. And as we kind of predicted, Carl's come out behind Spencer. So now it's for Matt Elmore to put his toe in and try and negate whatever benefit Spencer got from pitting a bit earlier. At the very, very front, we have Sam still following Stephen Walker around at 0.6 of a second behind, and you're right, JB is just behind them.
I think they've got Mr. Morton in front that they're also gaining on now.
Yeah, it will be.
Well, I say gaining on, it's literally one corner, but one corner only is, what, half a second? Is that?
Yeah. Carl Hardy's staying with Spencer. The only problem is overtaking Spencer's on a track like this.
It's a task on a normal sized track.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That
who's
was
that going in the pits, Rod?
no. It
Mr.
was
Littler. Mr. Littler.
Was it Andrew Littler? Was it? No, it was David
Scott.
Ayres.
Oh, is it David? Okay.
Yeah, he's
What
piled
David
into the
doing?
pits. It's the same car, isn't it? Same livery. Who else have we got racing now? So Spencer's over the stripe with Carl in tow. He is starting to pull away from him just a little, but nothing significant at the minute. So your race leader at the moment is Stephen Walker. Up 5 positions from his start, as is the man behind him, Sam Blees for Geodesic Racing. Gary Craig is in 3rd. And he's 2.6 seconds behind the lead pairing. Now the field has got a bit mixed up now because of people pitting, etc. Matt Elmore, Cap, is in 4th place. He is 1 position up from his start place. Tony Walker, he's down from his start position, but he's doing a great job. He's in 5th at the minute with people in front of him still to pit, but I don't know that he'll benefit from any of that. Then we've got Michael Seal up 10 places from his start, but he does owe us a pit stop, so he'll probably fall back. but he is quite rapid. Kylie Haddington owes us a pit stop at the minute, and so does Chris Needham, and that takes you to 8th. And the first of the pit stops, Spencer McCarthy with Carl Hardy right on his heels. Then we've got Jack James, but he's got 8 seconds of track in front of him before he finds Carl. Let's see where he ends up after all the others have pitted. It might have benefited him. And then we've got Jamie Wilson, who's 3 seconds behind him. 2.5 seconds further back, Andrew Littler. Doing an alright job tonight, Andrew Littler. That battle at the end of the first heat was brilliant. Roger Morton is 5 seconds behind Andrew. And then we've got JB 8 seconds behind that first car, who is lapped.
And then David Ayres.
Oop. And then David Ayres. Some good pressure here from Sam Blease. Is he going to do anything about this lead? I don't think so, personally.
I think he'll sit behind. He's
Yeah.
going to wait for the pit stop now. These two are in a position now where it's like an endurance race. Who can pit last?
Yeah. It's Triple S is Stephen, Sam and Spencer. Not, what was it? Ski, surf and skate or whatever it used to be, the clothing shop. I can't remember.
And Matt and Tony both pitted and they're coming out now. And is he
Yeah.
stayed ahead? He stayed ahead of Spencer.
Oh, wow, that is good racing from Cap.
And I think Tony's come out behind Carl. Yep.
He has. But the group
Not that
is
far
still
behind
pretty
either.
much together, yeah. That's going to make an interesting finish because I think Spencer may have been calculating on being ahead of all three of them, I should say, at the front of the 4. So let's see what happens. And like we saw, or like you saw in practice, and we all saw in qualifying, Cap's got good time round here.
It all depends on what these cars do in front of these 3 now. Whether or not this stays as it is, in my eyes.
Yeah, well, the next car
Does it
up the
get-
road from them is the yet to pit Chris Needham.
Well, that's what I mean. Anyone in front of them that hasn't pitted yet, if they have one mistake, that's going to have an effect on anyone that has pitted behind.
Yeah, definitely. Let's have a look at Cap's pit stop time. 38.93. Spencer's was 39.47. It's about half a second. A little faster, sorry, in his stationary time, if I can find the right words. But otherwise, very competitive.
I'm surprised by that. So I thought Spencer would have saved more fuel in the time that he pitted than Matt would have done.
Yeah, excuse me, yeah. As Chris Needham gets out of their way by pitting the car. So next up the road, and it's quite a way up the road, 10 seconds ahead of the first to pit, we'll call them, is Jason Haddington.
Jason's having a good second race as well.
He really is, yeah. It's clean. He's not spun it, put it in the wall. There's a lot of tracks out in the weeds there. Did you see that? I think that has to have been Michael's seal because he's the only one that's come up on the event tracker.
And
Yeah.
again, we're on a short track, so if these guys have gone in thinking that crew chief or caps or whatever they decide to use to do their auto fueling, it could easily go wrong in this last bit of the race.
Yes.
Because it doesn't know how to calculate it. Like we saw last week, I think it was Michael Seal last week, wasn't it? That ran out of fuel at the end.
Yeah. Yes. He was making
If you
mention
leave-
of it in the chat.
If you leave it to an auto calculator, because you've done 30 laps behind tow and then you start having laps where you're on your own, it can actually have an effect on how much fuel you're using. So I'm hoping we're not going to see someone, aka Cap, fall for that trick. So I did warn him before the race to make sure he doesn't go for it too much.
Oh, here we go. We've got everybody in the pits. I'm sure they didn't necessarily plan on having Andrew Littler on the same lap as them, but everybody, this must be the top limit. So the only one that isn't,
Sam has stayed out.
Sam Blaze, Stephen Walker, Gary Craig, Michael Seal, Jason Haddington and Andrew Littler all in the pits. So this must have been the absolute limit. And they're all coming out now, so where are they?
Look at the difference in pit stop times between Stephen, Gary and Mr. Littler as well.
Yeah, the stationary times are very, very short. 6.2 seconds actually for Stephen Walker. Everybody else in the field, and sorry, 6.5 for Gary. Everybody else in the field, 7 or 8 seconds. So are
And
they
how long
short
did you
on
say-
fuel, or
What did you say the full time was for the pit window? Was it 30
Sorry.
seconds?
pit window? Actually, it's not dissimilar to everybody else. Gary Craig has got the fastest pit lane time of anybody, 38.17. But Stephen Walker's was a bit more lethargic at 39.3.
See, I'm wondering how this is going to play out now, because that pit time means that Stephen should come out, what, 5 seconds ahead of Sam? But we know that's not
Yes.
going to happen.
Well,
If I'm
Here he
not wrong,
comes.
my maths is right there.
yeah.
So are we going to see Stephen come out just ahead of Sam?
Oh. 1 lap difference, that's all it is. There can't be enough in it. We're going to have to keep a close watching brief on Stephen Walker here. It's not going to be much of a stop, is it? So, penultimate turn, final turn. Hopefully if I click this...
Sam's car's
button-
moving.
There we go. Right.
It's going to be really close. He's coming out of the pits now.
Where is he?
Is he come out with a 2-second gap? He's come out with a 2-second gap.
He is. He's 2 seconds ahead. The reason I couldn't see him is because he's there.
Coming up behind you, Andy.
So, Sam Blees. Wow. 5.78 stationary. 37 seconds stop. Pit lane time. That is brilliant if he's got the right amount of fuel on board, and he was sat behind Stephen long enough to do that, I think. Would you say?
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, that's crazy though.
It's crazy, but we've seen it before from these geodesic boys. So, Jack James is in 8th place at the minute, just for his roaming fan club. He is 8 seconds behind Tony Walker and just ahead of Michael Seal, as you can see. So let's see where he ends up. Now, Spencer looks racy. I think Spencer's had enough of sitting behind Cap. So I think there's going to be some racing happening. Sam Blee's lead, you'll notice, has come down ever so slightly since he left the pits, and continues to come down actually. Stephen Walker doing very, very quick laps.
Oh, there's one. And he kept it out of the wall. That's
Stuck on the right hand side, be
Fair play.
careful.
Right.
He has given everyone the shout that he's stuck on the track. Because he's
Fair enough.
pointing in the wrong direction. He's done it, Kylie.
Has he? Right, okay, we'll have a look at that in a minute. Shame he's done that. Liam is claiming all of Jack's positions now. He said, I gained Jack 5 seconds and 2 positions on that pit strategy. Make that 3.
I mean, if that's the case, then Jack needs to be in the car, not you, Liam. Because I'm sure the driver's the one that gained the 3 positions, not the engineer. And if that's the case, then I don't know if you remember an old race that happened and someone used someone else to do the race for them.
That was weird.
That's a
Did you
good
see how
lap,
quickly that that whip round on Andrew Littler, that was very strange.
Yeah, that's slight bit of gravel, isn't it?
I know, it's slicker than ice, that gravel. Okay, so that's that.
I mean, he stayed there.
Practice, mate.
He did a great job, actually, keeping your foot on the brake and staying still until an optimal opportunity comes to you, i.e. free track, is the thing to do. You get very unpopular by reversing into traffic.
Again, Liam, it's fine to be his driver coach, but you're not the one driving the car. He's technically made their positions, but it's fair play, mate. You're supporting him and he's doing all right today. He's not thrown in a wall, which I'm glad to see. Because otherwise, you're the one to blame for last week's crash, right?
No, that'll be the driver.
Yeah.
There's only one person can crash like that. That's the person behind the wheel.
Not yet.
Well, yeah. Not yet. Nice. Love it. Welcome to BSTV, where even the people on the chat get roasted. Yay. Right, so Carl Hardy's getting a bit racy at the minute. He definitely didn't distract the driver. You don't know what distraction is until you've had wobbly kneecaps in the same chat as you while you're trying to do 24 hours of Daytona.
And he was literally, well, there was a moment where both me and Wobbly was singing to Pete to make sure he stayed away.
Yeah, that's just...
It was amazing. don't act like it wasn't amazing. We were... It was like there was a choir behind you. Like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh dear, some things you just can't forget. For all the wrong reasons, folks.
Yeah, for all the wrong reasons, yeah.
So, this is where the action's at. I'm surprised that Spencer's not had a real good shot at Cap. I know Cap's taking a defensive line, and Spencer's taking that big sweeping line around the corner, as I was mentioning earlier. I just thought that he would... I don't know. This is a track made for sends, isn't it? Right hand or 90-degree right-handers and left-handers or better.
Watching the car in front make a mistake round here, and you're loving life.
JB Ju must be thinking, how many David Ayres are there in this race? Because I'm pretty sure that David Ayres has overtaken him a few times already. Ah, this is why he's overtaking him again.
You have a moment.
Oh no, this is already behind him. This is going to be a really boring one, I think. This is going to be like a little bit wide at the last turn or something. Oh, you got a bit of curb. Oh, there you go. And... Ooh,
He
just
did
about kept
really
it
well
going.
to keep that.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, this Mr. Little was sat there waiting as well.
So,
That's fair play.
David must have gone off track in sympathy for his teammate there. JB trying to take a defensive position here, and he's managing to keep that Audi ahead of David Ayres, well, up until that point. That was so much netcode, that was solid air, and we are checkered. Didn't even notice that happening, yeah. Didn't even notice that happening, there was so much other stuff going on.
Oh, Spencer just threw it in a wall.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, that's different. We're going to have to watch some of these bits at the end. It didn't even come up as an incident because he'd already kind of crossed the line. Yeah.
Well done, Matt. Spencer, Squally.
Awesome stuff,
So,
though.
some pretty good results going on here for some
Tony, you
people.
had a great night tonight, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Yeah, that was actually fun.
So we'll go through the
Right,
finishing
David.
order with you once everybody's over the line.
love
Where
how
it
Liam said
is,
this one.
Yeah, enjoyed that, mate.
yeah,
I don't know what happened at the last lap.
I can't even show. Oh, I can't.
Oh, that
no, I
was just
can't.
racing. That's all that was.
Oh, mate. I know I didn't do anything.
Let's have a look at this again. Because I think there was
You
about
had the,
16 miles of space
You
between
had
them.
the pace, and I tried to snip in there, and
No,
that was
maybe
all
not.
good. That was great fun.
It looked completely different from the other perspective, it has to be
Yeah, it
said.
was a good battle for quite a few laps. Wasn't
They're just talking about it now. Like they've
Ah,
both
right.
said their parts about it. I think
Ah, okay.
just heavy racing. We're racing.
Liam O'Sullivan, I won! That's class. Right, okay, let's have a look at where everybody finished.
Do you want to go through the standings again?
If you don't mind, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. So our feature race winner was Sam Blees. In second place was Stephen Walker. In third was Gary Craig. In
Better luck
fourth,
next
you had
time,
Matt Elmore.
Jace.
In fifth, you had Spencer McCarthy. In sixth was
Yeah,
Carl
the
Hardy. That nearly
pit crew had
came
not
out wrong.
overfilled me
In
'cause I
seventh
forgot
was
to
Tony
turn
Walker.
brake
In
ladder
eighth
off.
is Jack James. In ninth was Michael Seal. 10th was Jamie Wilson. In 11th was Roger Morton. 12th was Jason Haddington. 13th was Chris Needham. 14th was David Ayres. 15th was Davey Dejoux. And 16th was Andrew Liller.
Awesome stuff. Right, let's get back to where we were. So, right then, let's go and find some people to talk to. There's nobody there.
I was
Hey,
going to say, there's no one there for a change.
What the hell? This isn't the service we pay for.
No, yeah. I see everyone there.
Yeah, bye. End of all the non-interviews. So, I mean, some great racing in there. The tactics side of things, I was surprised at. Spencer's lack of, attacking people and diving it down the inside, I was surprised by. But like you were saying, this track's so difficult to pass on. It makes for a hugely challenging race, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it always happens on the shorter tracks. I think have we got any more short versions of the tracks to go yet?
We do, yeah.
I think we've got one, haven't we?
I think we've got two, actually. Let me go and find out.
We've got Sebring, Oran Park, and Red Bull Ring.
Oh yeah,
The last
Oran's even the biggest bit of Oran is still a short track.
Short track, yeah, that's going to be very exciting to watch because, yeah, there's plenty of places to lose it on a thin track like Oran Park.
Yeah, totally.
So I reckon we'll get the same there. We'll have small pockets of people or drivers, should I say, and it'll be close between them pockets.
Without a doubt. Aye. Well, we've got some people to talk to now. They deemed us popular enough to join us, so I'll start with our. Where did you finish in race one? Did you win it? I can't remember. Third. Sorry. Stephen Lucky Wookie Walker, who is in the booth. Good evening.
Hola, mi amigos.
Hola. That was fairly intense from what we saw. However, there was periods of the race where you guys at the front just couldn't get an advantage over one another, it seemed. You had to sit in position and kind of wait for pit stops to separate you and things like that.
Yeah, race one, obviously, in particular, was tough because the top 5, 6, well, there wasn't a lot of difference in speed between the whole entire field, but the top 4 or 5, I felt like we broke away. I couldn't really tell, to be honest. I was just watching the geodesic boys in front, thinking, well, I'm only going to pass them if they make a mistake. I had the run on Sam once or twice in the early stages, and I should have taken it. I thought, oh no, I'll just sit here because I didn't want to mess anything up because obviously the cold tyres. But then as soon as they got warm tyres, I couldn't keep up with them. They just drove away, and then the last 5 laps, I was really, really bored. So I wasn't really concentrating. I was like, I wonder if this line's quicker. It turns out it wasn't.
But you got second in the second race, and I was convinced that there was all sorts of pit strategies going on with the fuel saving and things like that. But I think there probably was. It just didn't have such a massive effect. Best pit stop of the day went to Gary Craig. No, it didn't. It went to Sam, and then yourself, and then Gary. So although Gary's pit lane time was the shortest of everybody, so he obviously had it down getting in there and getting out. and the rest of you, well, the other two of you had a bit shorter stop for less fuel, I'm guessing.
Well, so obviously I got past Gary, and me and Sam got past at the same time, and we were going away, and I knew that he was saving fuel, and I was like, well, I've got clean air. I don't want to pit now and risk being caught up in traffic and lose time that way. So I tried to do a bit of fuel saving, but it just nearly made me crash. So I was like, just drive what you know, because I haven't driven this track a lot. And I thought, well, I'll just take a litre out when I pit, and then my plan was, or the idea was, I would come out behind Sam, because obviously he's putting less fuel in. I presume he was saving fuel. But I was like, if I can just come out within half a second, I still have that tow, and then he'll probably pull away, or I can at least stay with him. I wouldn't think I would have passed him. I'm not necessarily saying it would have changed the result, but I would have been able to put a bit more pressure on him. However, when I went to pit, driving Miss Daisy had gone in the pits just before me, and it looked like they put the pit limiter on as they entered the pit lane rather than where the cones were. So I lost 3 seconds just driving someone in to the pits because
idea.
go and watch it.
That was Andrew
You
Littler,
go and
wasn't
watch it. Yeah, it was like, oh, my grandma, she's driving, she's dead. So, yeah, basically cost me the chance to at least challenge Sam for the race. I'm not saying I would have won, but I should have been a lot closer than I had been. Had there been space to drive around, I just would have driven around them in the pits.
Yeah,
but
no way
obviously there's a
around
wall
there.
there. You know, if he'd moved over to the right, I could have probably squeezed over. Or if he'd not just driven in like in first gear with a pit limiter on from entering the flipping pit lane. But hey. I'm a little bit annoyed. I'm not going to pretend I'm not. I am. It was an okay race.
Ross, he doesn't sound bitter about it, does he?
No, Stephen
No.
never sounds bitter.
No, I don't normally get annoyed.
No, he doesn't.
Unless
to be fair.
Arno just drives into the side of you on purpose.
Okay.
But other than that, it was a great race. Yeah.
Awesome. That's good. Next time out, where are we? You just told me a minute ago. Sebring. Everybody likes Sebring, right?
I'm not a massive fan of the track, but apparently I'm pretty good at it. So I'll hopefully just. Or my only aim now, I think there's 6 races left, is just to try and finish ahead of Sam in every race. I might have to be slightly more aggressive than what I'm used to, but obviously I still don't want to cause any incidents. But if Sam doesn't make any mistakes, while it's close, if he's just finished, we're going to be on the same pace. If not, he'll be a bit quicker. His pace this season has been insane. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I do like racing it because, like I say, I seem to be okay at it. But as a track to drive, I'm not a massive fan of it. So you never know.
Okay. Is there anybody you'd like to have a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, obviously you guys are putting it on. The rest of the teams for turning up and getting plenty of cars on the track. I think our team had really good results in both races. Cap had a good one. My brother had a good one. All the guys that were moving out out of the way when we were coming around, appreciate them taking time out of their race to let us through. When obviously we're the leaders, I appreciate it. And yeah, just to Andrew Littler for ruining my race.
Awesome stuff. And we'll see you next time out at Sebring.
Yeah, see you later, guys. Thanks. Have fun. Be safe. Enter the pit quick.
I think he's taking it really well.
Yeah, he seems to be. Yeah, he's yeah.
So let's see in your interview with Sam whether Sam thanks Andrew Littler. Sam, please. Good evening. Over to you, Ross.
Good evening, Sam.
Evening, guys.
Oh, why do you sound grumpy as well?
He sounds
I'm not
grumpier than
grumpy.
Stephen.
Oh,
No, I'm laughing. I was laughing at how grumpy Stephen was.
All right, okay, that's fine.
Can I get a picture of the Grinch next time Stephen Walker comes up? Sorry.
So you put me off now, Pete. Qualifying, you put yourself in first place. It was quite tight between all the cars.
Yeah, really close.
Anything you did differently that did you have tow, or was it just you on your own trying to get the
I
most out of
think
the
I was
car?
on my own. To be honest, the tow didn't really make any difference right there. It was very, very marginal. So I might have been on my own, or I might have been behind Jamie or someone, but it was just a good lap. I think there wasn't any special event. It was quite early in the stint. I think the tyres, for some reason here, the tyres don't seem to keep getting better like they do everywhere else. So lap 3, 4, 5 ish is about as good as it gets. It doesn't really drop off much, but it doesn't get any better. So yeah, it was fairly early. Got that lap in, and then I was just going round. I got close to it a couple of times, but couldn't go any faster. So yeah, it was good qualifying, good setup.
Sounds good. And then race 1, we headed into race 1, obviously, or heat 1 as we call it. And I think, did Spencer overtake you on lap?
It got it off. It basically got it off the line.
Start, yeah.
Yeah, so it was sort of into turn 1 off the line. He got a slightly better launch than me, and then he was just a bit more brave on the brakes.
And then it was
yeah,
just the continuation of you
roadblock.
two following each other.
Yeah, I couldn't do
Roadblock, I like
anything
that.
about it. I felt a tiny bit faster in a couple of corners, a tiny bit slower in others, but it's just you have to be a lot faster to make a pass work.
Yeah.
So, or you have to force a mistake. So yeah, it was just a case of following him round, staying right on him, and hoping I could not nudge, but distract enough to cause a mistake. But Spencer's very good. He doesn't really make mistakes, so I had
Which
to
we
settle
did
for
mention
second.
that. We
Yeah.
did mention that during the race that between all three of you at the front, the mistakes that happen are very few and far between.
Yeah, it is rare. And Spencer, of the three of us, I think is probably the rarest. He very, very infrequently gets anything wrong on his own. So yeah, it was just a case of sticking it in second, making sure I got fastest lap, to maximise bonus points. But yeah, that was all I could really do in that race. There wasn't a lot of options for anything else, but that was fine. Second's all right.
And then we came to race 2, and we saw the guy that sat on pole didn't move anywhere.
No,
Unfortunately, his engineer forgot to tell him to put it in gear.
Spencer's engineer had a similar problem.
Did he really?
He started in
looked
neutral too. Yeah, he was in neutral.
It looked like, but Spencer got a bit more of a start. We saw literally cars scattering left, right, and centre to avoid Jack, who was just sat on the grid, unfortunately. It got racy quite quickly based off the starts that happened. Was there a tactic? Do you have something in mind you was going to do from the start? Obviously you started in 7th on the grid.
Yeah, I basically just wanted to get away cleanly and not let Stephen get away. So just make up as many places as possible. I got a really, really good start, and then with a couple of people getting poor starts in front, I think I'd gained 2 places by the time we got to turn 1, and then another 2 or another 1. I don't know. I basically went around the outside of Carl and then the outside of Cap in turn 2. And if I hadn't done that, Stephen would have won it easily. If I'd got behind Cap, even for I wouldn't have been able to pass him, I don't think. But even for a few laps, the gap Stephen had got, it took me like 12 laps to catch him and Gary when they were only 2 seconds up the road. So it was,
Yeah.
if I hadn't made that move at the start, I wouldn't have had a hope of catching them and staying there.
And then obviously we saw you both go past Gary.
Yes, yeah.
I think that was more Gary staying out of the way and not trying to crash into either of you at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stephen sort of forced a mistake a little bit. He might have stuck his nose in. Gary's a very good driver. He's very fair. He left the space open, and because they were offline, both of them were side by side for a bit. I was able to get a good run and get past. So again, yeah, it's all. I was quite lucky with how things fell for me in terms of whenever I was behind somebody who wasn't Stephen, I was able to get past them quickly. So Tony was between us for a bit. I could get past Tony relatively quickly. And then as soon as Stephen got past Gary, I got past him as well. So it was just a case of, marking him and basically I saved a bunch of fuel then.
was about to say,
Managed to
and
get an
then,
extra couple of laps out of it, yeah.
then you managed to save as much fuel as possible. As we saw Stephen pitting with someone. Who did he pit with?
Andrew Littler and Gary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
it was
a whole
Gary,
bunch
wasn't it?
of them on that particular lap. Yeah.
We already had the incident mentioned about pitting like a granny. You had a fairly clean entrance to the pit. Was there anything? Did you get through there smooth sailing or?
Yeah, it was fine. I forgot to do a practice in the warm up, so I took it fairly easy on the entry. But I knew obviously if I had 2 laps more fuel, I needed a shorter stop. So it was just a case I wasn't too worried about that, and I knew he'd got in behind Andrew Littler, so he might have lost a bit of time on the entrance or possibly the exit and stuff. So I was fairly comfortable. I did try not to take too many risks on it, but yeah, just a fairly normal stop and managing the fuel till the end then, which was only about 5 laps. I was so close to the end when I pitted.
It felt like we were watching you do 50 laps, like just in that race then, with them being so many laps. I think me and Pete got confused about what corner was on at one point. Because they look the same. But either way, like you've obviously finished first. Well, you got a second and a first this week. Sebring, have you driven the new?
I haven't.
The new
No.
artworked decor version.
No, I haven't yet. But I will. I'm sure it'll be virtually the same as before. Bumpy and.
How do you feel about Sebring in these?
I mean, historically, I've been a bit rubbish at Sebring. I like it. I didn't used to like it. I used to hate it. Last time we went, I actually started to find some rhythm and enjoyed it, but it's never been a favourite of mine. So we'll have to sort of see how that plays out. But yeah, we'll play it by ear. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be good fun, if nothing else. Good battling.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's probably the longest track we've been to this season, isn't it?
Yes, it will be. Possibly Nürburgring GP or Imola, maybe as well.
Imola might have been, yeah. So we'll probably what 2-minute 30 laps, maybe more, 2-minute 40.
Nah, a bit less than that.
You reckon?
I'd have thought under 2. I'd have thought 150, something like that. But I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Really?
Yeah, I reckon.
Are you in a GT car?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, Sebring is a bit longer, isn't it?
I was going to say GT cars do it in 1 minute 50, mate.
Oh, don't know. All right, maybe about 220 then, probably 220.
What car number, Sam? Pete, because he's about to get called into the steward's office for a car check.
Unlucky 13. Oh yeah.
So after this week's rounds and the drop scores, you're now 23 points behind, in front of Stephen.
Sounds good to me.
Do you reckon that's going to be the last 2 rounds, 3 rounds we've got left? Is that going to be easy to keep, or do you reckon it's going to be?
No, not at all. I mean, that's 4 or 5 positions. That's 1 mistake, 1 crash, 1 bad race. It doesn't even have to be 1 bad meeting, just 1 bad race, because I've had a 0 already. So, it's I've got to turn up and finish ahead of him or straight behind him every race, pretty much. It'll be a good fun battle to the end. Hopefully, I can hold on to it. But Stephen's, as you know, he's very, very fast. He's a cracking driver. So, it's not going to be straightforward. Definitely.
We was in a similar position last season, weren't we?
Yeah, I think it was the other way around a bit. I think I was slightly behind at this sort of stage, but I can't really remember.
Yeah, so it seems like ages ago, doesn't it?
It does.
Is there anyone you want to say thank you to, or anyone for a shout out?
Yeah, I'd like to say thanks to Spencer for his magic setup at the last moment, because I was nowhere on pace until he gave me that, and then I was. So cheers for that, and unlucky for his sort of issue in the second race with starting in neutral. Well done. There's a couple of people did really, really well. So Tony Walker had a great race. Cap and Carl had great pace today. Gary did really well again. So well done to everyone. It's always good to see people coming out, and we always talk about people improving through doing these leagues, and you do see a lot of it. It is really good to see. So yeah, well done to everyone, and thanks to you two for doing the broadcast, for give us something to watch back tomorrow.
No problem. You've missed one thank you out there. One name you needed to mention.
Andrew Littler.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Andrew. I haven't actually seen it. I don't know
No.
how much it
We're-
affected anything, to be honest.
We're only joking anyway. But yeah, cheers, Sam, and we'll speak to you next week.
Right, cheers, guys.
Right, so next into the booth, hopefully he's mid-conversation, and proof that you don't need to drive for Geodesic to get on the podium in this league. Gary Craig, how you doing?
Oh, did I not tell you I've accepted the invite for Geodesic
You
Racing?
better not. You're not selling your soul to those guys. Not a chance. I just need to give a quick poke in the eye to Stephen Phillips, my ex-teammate, who got a jab in on the chat. So race. Why did you end up in race 1? Was that fourth? Fifth. Yeah, I knew I was close. But you got yourself a podium in the second and feature race, possibly due to the lack of starting prowess of Jack James. But we'll talk about that in a minute. First race, the group at the front, the 5, stuck together for the entire thing, and you started to get dropped just at the very last part of that race.
Yeah, I think it was kind of obvious in the second race as well that my tyres, I think, started to go a little bit because I started to drop off lap time wise. Plus that the Elantra was killing me in the second to last corner. It was just pulling away on I think turn 3 and that second to last corner. They could just ride the curb and they were just getting so much better drive and mid corner speed. So I was just dropping back a little bit here and a little bit there. And once I got a little bit further back, it just compounded because I didn't have as much draft. So I hung on as best I could. Like I was happy to hang on to that main group in the first race and not fall off it at least.
Yeah, I mean, Russ was saying that penultimate turn, the curb there, is a proper car killer. Is it just that the Elantra rides higher?
Well, so I have had no trouble with that curb. I've had, like, a lot of people have been getting reports of steering damage from Jim, but I've had none of it. And I don't know whether it's an Elantra thing or whether I'm just not taking as much of that curb, which could be a possibility. But yeah, I've had no damage off those curbs.
Okay. And then in the second race, Jack didn't get away. Everybody else did, apart from Spencer, who started in neutral. And you got to the front like lightning. You were way out there before I'd even noticed that it was you that was not on my screen anymore because I was watching people further back with the 2 Spectre 6 cars behind you. And then Stephen started to slowly claw away once he'd multi-21 with his brother. Did you have hopes of a higher position, or do you think that third was about what you could manage with the Veloster?
Oh, to dare to dream.
To dare to...
Well, I was like, when I'd take fourth to first before the first corner anytime. That was a mega start combined with some not great starts next to me, which kind of helped. But yeah, I'm just focusing on getting as much kind of time under my belt as I could because I knew that Tony would hold Wook and Sam up, not because Tony was slow. Tony had mega pace tonight, but because the two of them were quicker when they got through, and I knew that they would be quicker than me, which obviously proved to be true. But I wasn't sure what Tony would do because Tony was quick and he was well within his rights to fight it. And I think Wook was a little annoyed. He said that Tony did let him by. I think Wook would probably have liked Tony to show his pace and run his own race, but you know. At the end of the day, the guys would have got through anyway, and it maybe cost them less time in the long run. But unfortunately, it meant that I had less of a gap when they did get through. They were still in the draft at that point. So as soon as they were still in the draft, I knew that was a win over whatever chance I had. You know, unless somebody had a mess up into the pits, because that was a tricky pit entry. But no, I'll take third in those conditions. You know, I know Spencer had a bad start, so. Finish in front of Spencer when he's quicker than me, I'll take that as a win. Finishing ahead of Cap this week because Cap had mega pace, I'll take that as well. So I'm still happy with third.
Yeah, you got to call out Cap's pace because he was like lightning in practice and qualifying.
No, he got an OP set up 5 minutes before the race. That's what happened.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
That is actually what happened.
That's funny stuff.
He struggled so much last night in the official, and then tonight he's top of the times.
Right.
He got really good quality in practice time.
And then next time out, we're at a track that I'm pretty sure that you like, Sebring. Always a classic, and it's never a boring race around Sebring.
Even if you're racing on your own, it's never a boring race around Sebring. It's just such a fun track to drive. It's one of my favourites. Is that Watkins Glen, and Manicourt these days as well. I'll put that right up there. There's a few of my favourites. So yeah, Sebring's way up there.
Awesome. And in terms of keeping, where are you in the league at the minute? Are you third?
Third now. Because Spencer had a couple of missed weeks.
Yeah. Are you able to keep that alive? Do you think?
Yeah, I think there's a chance Spencer can't make a couple more rounds, so it's between me and Cap, and I've got a good chunk of points in front of him. There is a drop.
Points,
there is a drop round to come into it, but yeah, it's a decent gap to Cap now.
You're on 82 points, Gary.
Yeah, so I mean we're pretty close on pace, and he finished in front of me in race. One, I finished in front of him in race 2. We're just trading points at this point.
Yeah.
But no, I mean the tactic has to be the same as Donington, where I just need to put him into the wall, and possibly into Carl as well because he's quite quick.
So
I see you on chat, Cap.
I was about to say, he's already said he's going to take you out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's what I was laughing at. It just popped up while you were talking. That's funny. Anybody you'd like to have a shout out to before we let you go and celebrate your podium finish?
Yeah, everyone apart from Wobbly as usual.
Well, yeah. I mean, it goes without
Standard.
saying, doesn't it? In that case, we'll see you next time out at Sebring. Hopefully on the top spot, Gary Craig.
We'll see. Cheers.
Right then. Who do you want next?
do you
want Cap?
Go on, get him in. We can give him some reviews.
Right. Okay. So next in is Cap. Otherwise known to the rest of you as Matt Elmore. Over to you, Russ.
Good afternoon, Cap.
Oh, hi, Russell. Carol.
Hello, Matt Elmore. So we saw your comment about 3 laps in to qualifying. Gary just confirmed it even more. Using a cheat sheet,
bro.
Cheat sheet before the race.
No. I just didn't know it existed. I've
been enlightened.
I've been using the Magnicore tune. Now, I did the officials last night, and I was shocking. I was nowhere. And I was speaking to Sam about it, and he said, yeah, the Magnicore tune is rubbish for anything apart from Magnicore, and it wasn't even brilliant there. And yeah, I kind of confirmed that by having an appalling official race. And then Rook said to me, yeah, there's a tune in our, we got our special members only chat type thing. And yeah, anyway, I downloaded that, went out 4 laps in, was quickest in practice. I was like, oh, hello, might have a bit of pace here. And yeah, the rest is history. I done all right. Quite pleased, to be fair.
And then qualifying, you finished 3rd in qualifying.
Yeah, wow, #1 Spectre 6 driver and all that. The rest didn't stand a chance, did they?
Well, we've got a new name for the team now, haven't we? It's what?
Spectre 1, 2?
No, it's Fiercely Geo.
Oh, yeah.
Fiercely Geo. What was the other one? There was Fiercely Geo Dog 6. That was it. Because also one of the other teammates, Pete, also got an invite to another team.
Oh, really?
So we've added their team name in now as well. There's only one Spectre 6 driver left, and that's me.
Oh, okay.
I've been left behind.
Race.
Yeah, so it was fine. And then at the start of the race 1, did you think
the team tactics there?
Yeah, you let Stephen past.
Look, yeah.
Yeah.
Straight away I said to him, look, I'm on the left-hand side, you're going down the inside. But I'm coming in tight because I know Gary's going to get a good start, and it was close, but it was clean.
It was very close, and then obviously it was steady Eddie all the way through that race. There wasn't really anything dramatic that happened. You all kind of just raced your race, and you finished 4th in that one.
It was always a case of rear gunner, mate. I wasn't ever going to try, mate. I wasn't fast enough to be able to make a move on him, but it was always a case of just sit behind him, make sure no one else gets to him and takes him out, or overtakes him basically because he needs maximum points.
And then we saw you start in 3rd for race 2. 4th?
I don't know, 4th maybe. Yeah, I'd have been 4th. If I finished 4th, I'd have been 4th, wouldn't I? Quick
and
maths.
Then you had to make a quick move out of the way from a standing car. A lot of people did. You managed to get that through through that quite cleanly.
Yep.
And obviously, you were just following the cars as they took the path.
So I let work through again.
I was going to say, you let Stephen walk through again, yeah? And then you
then
basically
I got
held...
absolutely done by Sam round the outside somehow.
Yeah. And then you kept Carl... Well, you all three of you were behind Tony for quite a bit of the race.
Yeah. First of all, though, before you get that far, did you not see mine and Carl's little switcheroo? He got past me for a one corner. I was like, I'm not having that, so I got back past him.
We missed...
No, we got that one eventually.
I was going to say,
yeah.
I hope you got it. That was an amazing move. I was
we went back to it, didn't we?
You did,
so
yeah.
That we didn't understand how you got past him.
And Carl needs a poke in the eye anyway, in this broadcast, because the amount of times on these replays I've seen him flashing his lights, he needs to just
I was going to say
quit
in the
that
chat,
rubbish right now.
I was literally going to go on the mic saying, Pete, Carl's flashing at me, black flag him. But yeah, no, I didn't. And just to reiterate what you were saying before I interrupted you, yeah, well done the team, mate. What a drive. I was quicker than him, but he well deserved to be where he was. I wasn't ever going to ask to get past him. In the end, he did let me pass, and I said to him, it's up to him when he did let me pass, and he moved over, let me pass, and then I started putting in faster times. So, mate, yeah, he just coming on leaps and bounds in this car. He's just picking up time left, right, and centre. So fair play. I've got no qualms with staying behind him, being his rear gunner, because Carl was giving me 0 times after 0 times after 0 times.
You wanted that pie in your boot, mate.
Mate, I think you wanted more than that in my boot, mate.
And then, obviously, Tony let you by, and we were sit on the edge of our seats to see if you would pit and come out either in front or behind Spencer.
Oh, mate.
Which you managed
How
to
did he get past
keep
me?
it in front.
I was the sweat officially started pouring down my head when I saw how close he was, and then we all know how fast he is, and yeah, I don't know how I managed to keep in front. It must be that OP tune
that he gave you.
No, it was Wook's tune.
It was Wook's tune that you used,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, but saying that, it could have well been a Geo tune. Bearing in mind Wook's half Geo.
Is it just half?
Half Geo.
I'm reckon there's a higher percentage in there.
Yeah,
quite possibly. Yeah,
80-20.
80-20.
And then obviously you finished 4th in the second race.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
We know that next week's track, you're probably one of the giddiest people to go there, since it's Sebring, and you love that track and you can't wait.
I haven't touched it since it's been redone or remastered or whatever they did to it, so I'm quite interested to see what it's like.
Remastered? That's a good way of putting it, Pete. We should have said that earlier.
Yeah, I think they used to do that.
Sounds more professional.
They used to do that to music every so often on CDs and tape cassettes. Yeah. Not that tape cassette ever worked, but I've never heard it used on a track before, so we'll go with it.
Matt Cap remembers cassette tape, so you're all right.
I'm sure he remembers 78s.
He's part of the vinyl crew.
42 next month.
Here we know. Old man.
How old?
Yeah. 42 next month, mate.
And how many 100 months?
Well, that's a lot.
So you're looking forward to next week?
I am looking forward to next week. Yeah, it's I think it's going to be very good racing. I think there's going to be bigger gaps because it's a bigger track. There's going to be bigger time differences, but there's a lot of practice I'm going to have to be having, and I need one of Wook's OP tunes to be able to keep up. I think. My problem is I use the same tune every week, and on this occasion, as I found out last night in the officials, it just didn't work.
Yeah,
it was shocking.
Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, sound.
Good shout out.
No. Yeah, thanks to you lot. I've got to say again, well done the team, mate. Leaps and bounds. Thoroughly deserved to be up there. Probably deserved to finish higher than what he did, especially in front of Carl. After all that light flashing, I can't stand people that flash their lights during a race. It's not fair.
I might just penalise him after the race anyway.
Black flag him, mate.
Yeah,
we'll take his pie off him. Yeah. Not make him cry enough.
No, just black flag him, mate. He won't be able to afford his pies. He won't get no race winning money, will he?
Yeah, true. Race winning, you got to win to get that money, haven't you?
Well, yeah, for him, a finish is a win. How many instant points did he get? Because he's the instant point king, isn't he?
I think so. Yeah, he's well up there. He's on the chat
Yeah.
now. He's
He's flashy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
The thing is, his lights is actually the tin foil off all the pies, so it's like a sun reflection. He can only do it on certain parts of the track.
You know what? For both races tonight, he only ended up with 2 incident points.
What?
That's good for Carl. He's
Which is good
yeah.
for Carl. He didn't stop for that pie today.
It's
He
still one more than
realised
me.
it was more than you, but it was also like 9 less than Spencer in race 2.
Yeah.
I don't know who
I
murdered
tell you what, as well,
Spencer.
going back to that race 1, I absolutely messed up and I finished the race with 9 laps of fuel. I didn't listen to how many laps or how many litres Wook told me I needed, and I was saying to her, I said, I've only got a few laps to go and I've still got 12 laps of fuel. I don't know what's going wrong. And after the race, he said, "Yeah, you only need so much." Maybe I shouldn't have gone for a wee at the point he told me.
Most likely. Most
Yeah,
likely. All right, and we'll see you. Or I'll speak to you in about 2 minutes, but we'll see you next week.
I'm gonna go, mate. So,
Oh, wetty.
yeah, I'm getting old now. I need to go to bed early.
Yep.
Kicking bones and all that.
That's your interview.
Yeah,
Catch you
nice
later,
one.
buddy.
Cheers, lads. Cheers.
Right then. I'm just going to do one more very, very quick interview because we don't get to speak to him so much anymore. Jamie Wilson, good evening. How are you doing?
Hello. Yeah, all right. I suppose licking my wounds. The wound being the Honda.
Well, yeah. I thought you were running wounded, but I don't think you were.
No, only inherently with the car. So
it seemed so much more pronounced at this track than in previous tracks.
Yeah, but it's been true everywhere. It's just that sometimes you can make the most of that, or not make the most of it, but make the least bad of that.
Yeah.
By ending up in the thick of it. Great Wall of Honda being a best example of that, but.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it kind of tolerable, but here it just wasn't. It was just frustrating that you know someone making, you know, even having sketchy laps ahead of you, can be lapping, you know, 3, 4, 5 tenths faster than you, and you're absolutely ragging the car. So there's just nothing we can do about it.
Is it corner exit speed, or is it just every aspect of the behaviour?
It's primarily, it's corner exit speed.
Yeah.
So it's just the car. You dragged me out of a telemetry discussion
Right.
with the others about it and how you know, I've done a lot of work trying to work out what the difference is in terms of things that are tangible. You know, it's easy. We can see what's happening. We can feel what's happening. The results say what's happening. But it's very difficult to actually put a scientific thing on it and say it's that and point to a graph. And
so on a
trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and on a much bigger track with more sweeping corners, with the exception of 2 obvious corners, at Sebring next time out, do you think you're going to be any more competitive, or is that just going to exemplify the problem even further?
Exemplify.
I don't know. I've just made that one up. It'll go in the dictionary at some point in the not too distant future if I use it often enough.
Exacerhance would be the other way.
I like that. Whoa, I'm claiming that one. Is it going to exacerbate
it? Not sure, to be honest. I mean, that has the other factor that it's very bumpy, of course, which which may be is a differentiator in how the Honda and Elantra handle in terms of bumps and that sort of thing. So there's another factor there on top of that. I think the bit where we're at our most strong is at a track like Daytona or something, where you're on throttle for an awfully long time. Because at the very top end, I think it's nullified. I mean, if you remember Monza, the mad race we did there, I was up the front there pushing Spence around in a Veloster. So I was, it was in contention. It's not that, I should be up winning the race or getting podiums every week or whatever. It's just that, to have the chance to literally overtake any car would be an advantage from where we are now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Because usually you're in the thick of it with Simon. Simon didn't race tonight. Probably real life taking over.
No, it was. I think he just saw the writing on the wall at that point, and then I'd persevered, and I'm seeing it now. So.
Right, yeah. But not seeing anything in your rearview mirror. Yeah, let's hope for better things at Sebring. Hopefully it'll perform to a much higher standard. I need to give you people to shout out to. I don't know, Honda?
No, Hyundai for making very strong engines.
Oh, right, yeah, very good, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I'm sure they're thrilled with their. You may as well have a V12 in it. Yeah, no, thanks to you guys for putting it on. As you know, I might be a bit despondent, and certainly Simon is as well about it. But you know, at the end of the day, we do this because it's fun, and when there are ways for it to be fun when you're in a bit of a naff car, and yeah, tonight happened to not manifest any of those for us.
No, I can understand that.
But still, you know, it's me moping about shouldn't affect anyone else. So, yeah, no, I'm sure there was loads of good racing out there. Somewhere in the distance, a pixel on my screen in the distance. So, yeah, and I'll look forward to watching the broadcast to see what actually happened, because I was just sort of mulling about on my own.
Cool.
So thanks for I'm sure making that entertaining.
Well, let's hope so. We'll see you next time out at Sebring for hopefully better results. Jamie Wilson.
Cheers, guys.
Right, so needed to interview him because, well, he's not in an Elantra. That car is such a struggle, and he does so well with it, and so does Simon. But tonight looked to be even more extreme. But anyway, have you considered, Russ, the most important decision of the night?
Yes.
Right. Do you have a name? Do you have a name?
Yes, I do.
I also have a name. Does your name begin with the letter T?
It does indeed.
Oh, so does mine. You go first.
So I'll give my reasons. It's been mentioned a few times tonight. I like that you put it. He's over the past, from the beginning of the season, he's just getting quicker and quicker. He's becoming a true walker, shall we say?
Oh, that's good. I like that.
In the past, when we've raced with him, he's been very similar pace to his brother, and we all know how quick Stephen is. So, at the rate Tony's going, I can imagine he'll be starting to get towards the front of the pack. Maybe not at Stephen's pace straight away, but given the time that Stephen's been playing this compared to Tony, they'll both be in a similar pace place. That was really hard to say.
It was, yeah.
Probably not the right words to use, but you went there. So yeah, it's going to Tony Walker for myself. He's done really well tonight. He kept himself up front. He was in fourth, as Matt said, up cap. He deserved fourth place, but he did the team thing and let Matt go by, and then continued his race. So yeah, Tony Walker for me.
As a non-geodesic driver of Spectre 6, he was by far the best of them. He did really well tonight. I don't know whether it's the short track setup, but he didn't get phased by the guys that are usually super fast behind him. Knew he could just drive on his line, be confident and be quick. You could tell that in the car behaviour. He maintained his positions when he had to. I think if he'd probably not let Matt go, he might have finished a bit higher. But yeah, in terms of his confidence is the best way to describe it, I think. Behind the wheel of the car, I think Tony Walker's done very, very well tonight and deserves the 2 votes that he's just got, which I think probably puts him a little bit ahead of some others now, does it? I'm just going to have a look because I put the points on. Yeah, so he's he's pulled away from Stephen Walker there, and he's on 5 points. So well deserved, Tony, and you can see his improvement from season to season now. It's quite good, and we often have people that do that in these leagues, in our leagues, I should say. But yeah, bring the broadcast to a close now. We will see you at Sebring in a week's time. It's a couple of weeks till we see the next V8 action, so I'll tell you all about that when we're at Sebring next week. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter. And Twitch as well. I'm just trying to get them all in now. And thanks to Russ for joining me in the booth each week. Thanks for Wobbly for not turning up and annoying us. And thanks to all the racers and viewers for joining us this evening. It's been a blast, especially the guys on the chat who either took it or gave it tonight. And yeah, we'll see you next time out. I'll hand you over to Russ to say goodbye, and then I'll close the broadcast. Thanks all. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Goodbye. See you next week.